Hello everybody and a warm welcome. My name is Kjær. I'm the product manager for the portable vibration measurements instrument product line of B&K Vibro. The following training video introduces some functionalities of our Series 80 portable instruments, comprising the VIBROTEST 80 and the VIBROPORT 80. Both vibration measurement instruments are mainly used in offline monitoring applications, such as vibration analysis, field balancing, and data collection. The vibration measurements are part of a predictive maintenance strategy for rotating machinery. Ultimately, they help provide uptime, maximize the machine life cycle, and last but not least, save maintenance costs. Enjoy the following video. Within the next 15 to 30 minutes, I will talk to you about differences and similarities of the instruments, key properties, and instrument handling and sensors. To demonstrate the differences and similarities of both instruments, I would like to use an analogy. I think everybody of you outside in the world today knows about a smartphone. A smartphone is small, very handy, it fits in every pocket, and it is very powerful. If you are on the road, you will take your smartphone. If it drops on the floor, it is lightweight, you can just pick it up and nothing happens. It works again. I think what you also know is that you use such an iPhone depending on the application or on the goal you would like to go, the way you would like to go. And another possibility, which is equipped with the same power and with the same applications, is a smart tab. My wife and me uses one, and obviously, what is the main differentiator? The main differentiator is the size, if you compare these two tablets. So if you sit on the sofa, you have a larger view, it gives value to you, you can look at data more in detail, you can impart more plots. So this is a big advantage compared to the small smartphone. However, the applications which are running on both products are the same. So it goes with the VIBROTEST 80 and with the VIBROPORT 80. At the end, it depends on the application and on the money in your pocket, which of both instruments you would like to use. Let's have a look on the small VIBROTEST 80. You can see the screen is quite small and the instrument is very lightweight. But with the hand strap, you can run around, you can take it in one hand, you can walk around, and you can do this over a long time, such as, for example, in the data collector application, when you make a route inspection. On the other side, the VIBROPORT 80, with its larger screen, is much more heavy. By the way, the weight of the VIBROPORT 80 is twice of the small instrument, but you have a larger screen where you can impart more information on it. This might be a 3 or 4 channel plot, or it can be, if you are in the test field and you make balancing, a dual polar plot, where you need to look at those details to cope with your application in a good way. So let's summarize this. The differences are screen size, weight and portability, the things which both instruments have in common, as it is with a smartphone and a tablet, is the interface and the hardware. In that sense, hardware is called what is here in the back plane and the electronics inside. They are exactly the same. Furthermore, the icons and applications, like you know it from your smartphone and from your tablet, are also the same on the VIBROTEST 80 and on the VIBROPORT 80. And of course, the ease of use for both of our products. Let's look at least finally at an example with the VibroPort 80. And if it is a very powerful instrument, it can measure up to 4 channels plus speed. Also possible with the VIBROTEST 80. However, how to show 4 plots on one screen? Obviously, you need a larger instrument. Here you see the 4-channel goes down with the measured with the overalls module as shown on the VibroPort 80 screen. Last but not least, a lot of design has gone in the instrument, and as I told you, you can use this by the hand strap. If you sit on your sofa and you have your tablet on your knees, we also thought about how to make the VibroPort 80 over a long working day portable. And therefore you can, in analogy to the hand strap, which you also have here, in addition put a shoulder strap to the VibroPort 80. And I would like to show you, because this is very important. Sometimes you have cross applications where you go for data collection with a large instrument because you use it at the same time for balancing. So I think by demonstrating using this shoulder strap, you hang it around your neck, and it is very convenient. You can run around and also make other applications with that. Okay, let's go back to the key properties of both instruments. In industry environments, you will have a lot of environment conditions. So the instruments have been designed to be very, very robust and rugged for several industries and environments. For example, you can think about the steel industry or the cement industry, where there's a lot of dust and dirt and it is very, very hot. Furthermore, there are special environments, so-called hazardous areas with explosive atmosphere. For such a purpose, we have both instruments available with special certificates. The instruments can either be delivered with a North American standard, which is called CSA, or according for hazardous areas in the European region, ATEX. Both instruments are available with these certificates, and if you look on the instrument, a small E indicates that it is an ATEX instrument. However, do not forget, in your hazardous area you have a complete measuring chain. So that means that not only the instrument has to have ATEX, if you are in the EU, it also the cable, the complete measuring chain, that means cable, sensor has to be ATEX approved. A further important key property of both instrument, VibroTest 80 and VibroPort 80, is a so-called military standard, MIL A10F, and security protection, which is called IP65. In the next minutes, I want to talk a little bit about these two key properties. As I told you already at the smartphone, it is very lightweight. So this standard MIL A10F is a mechanical shock test, a drop test of our VibroTest 80. And MIL A10F is defined as a 2-meter drop on a special particular test surface. Why is it important now to go with a small instrument? It is lightweight, and according to Newton's secondary law, force equals mass times acceleration. It is exposed to lower forces when it drops on the floor. However, this MIL A10F drop is in a special test environment. So in the steel industry, at fans, in the cement industry, you can have several floors out of cement or steel, anything. To address this, a rubber boot has been designed for that instrument to protect it even for other surfaces than the particular test surface. And I would like to demonstrate you this. So I put it in the rubber boot, and you see the instrument works currently. So I told you and I promised you it is a 2-meter drop. So let's drop it. And oh my God, it still works. So this was to show you how rugged and safe this instrument is protected against shocks. This was for the VIBROTEST 80, but by the way, we have it also for the VIBROPORT 80. Another cover against dust and rain, and even at the VIBROPORT 80, which is the larger instrument, you can put some pocket behind it, which also, if something is inside, you can carry little stuff, and if it drops, it is also protected more against shocks. The other protection which both instruments have implemented is they are specified according IP65. IP65 protection is robustness in the sense of dust proof and waterproof. So there is a video which shows you how rugged the VIBROTEST 80 in that case is for the IP65 protection. So please don't try it at home, but you can try it because you see, as it is in this very nice video demonstrated, that this is no problem for the instrument. By the way, here are some dust caps, and they are to secure the IP65 protection. Because you can see, if you put them on the connectors, you can cover up to 3 connectors. Is one missing? No. In minimum, you have normally 1 sensor connected, so that IP65 protection is still fulfilled. Let's talk a little bit further about the instrument handling. Both instruments have color indicators which show you if the instrument is charged or if the instrument has wrong measurement values or something is going wrong. These 4 LEDs on the VIBROPORT 80 are also available on the VIBROTEST 80. Furthermore, there are ergonomic hand grips for left hand, right hand application operations, and also in the case of the VIBROTEST 80, a second hand strap can be put here. The interface is given via icons on both instruments, and you can navigate through these icons. I will tell a little bit more about it later. However, if you are in a dark environment, you can change the brightness to a lower contrast. If you are in a very shiny environment, you can change it also to a higher contrast, and it is much better to read on the instrument. There are further utilities and possibilities with the instrument. If you look on the back side on both instruments, there's a battery cover, which can be screwed out with a screwdriver, and there is a sealing around, of course, to be dust and waterproof, once again, to fulfill IP65. This battery panel, there is a larger battery for the bigger instrument and a smaller battery for the small instrument. Another, let's say, differentiator to the VIBROTEST 80, which makes it more convenient, is a very nice bracket which is behind the VIBROPORT 80. So if you work on the test floor or if you are in the office, you can put it on the table like that. We do not forget the bracket on the small unit, but simply by the size, it is difficult to implement everything. If you want, you can even put the larger instrument, the VIBROPORT 80, in a docking station, which gives you an even more convenient angle to work with it. Furthermore, you can also charge the unit via the docking station. What else do we have important? So we covered the display, we covered the hand grips. I will later come back to the keyboard. I will later connect sensors. However, at the bottom of the instrument, there is, according to the docking station, for the larger instrument, the VIBROPORT 80, pin connectors and the SD card slot. So there are 2 important issues to consider. For the protection of the pins, there are 2 different dust caps, which you have if you have the CSA approved unit. And if you have the standard unit, you have a small cover for the protection of the SD card slot. In case you are in hazardous areas, remember, contacts can lead to explosion. There is another cover which protects also the pins from to the docking station. Furthermore, there is an SD card slot here on the large unit and here on the VIBROTEST 80. You can put up an SD card up to 16 gigabyte, which is a lot of memory which you can use. Even if you need more storage place, you can take 3 SD cards for IG 16 gigabytes. 3 times 16 is 48 gigabyte. You can store a lot of data with it. And this SD card can be taken out very easily and can be inserted again. At the small unit, the SD card is also at the bottom behind this protection. Okay, let's come to how do we measure with that instrument. So it is important to know that the connectors, the hardware interface is exactly the same. I repeat this. So you will need first a sensor to measure, obviously. This is our standard sensor, which we deliver with the instruments. It's an AS063. You will need a cable to connect the sensor. This is a screw-type connector. And why do we have screw-type connectors? They are very, very robust, and they fix together the measuring chain. Suppose in the measuring chain is something loose, then it can start to rattle and can introduce false vibration signals, which you don't want to measure. So let's look how to screw this together. And if I screw it together, it is very easy and very hard, and nothing is rattling. Now I have the cable and the sensor. Can I attach it? No. What did I do wrong? Of course, you need a magnet. There are several possibilities to connect a vibration sensor. In ideal, you screw it on a place, because the stiffer a sensor is connected, the better the high frequency signals can be transferred to the instrument. However, of course, for convenient use, and in many cases, a magnet is the most appropriate thing you can use. We have 2 types of magnets. One for flat surfaces. This is this one. It is called AC172. And we can connect it to the sensor and attach it to a stud which is flat. However, please bear in mind, and I think you already also know from as experienced user, in rotating industry, most of the parts are cylindrical. So to accommodate that, it is more appropriate to use another magnet. The second magnet, which we also deliver with the instrument, is the so-called AC273, and it has 2 bars to give the option to fit on cylindrical surfaces. So for example, here is a cylindrical surface. Normally you attach a sensor near to the bearings, but however, for demonstration you can see how well this sensor for cylindrical surfaces can be attached to such a surface. Last but not least, to mention is this standard cable is AC1393, and it is for explosive areas as well as for standard areas. And accordingly, this, which is a standard sensor, AS63, we have also such a sensor with ATEX approval. Okay, so now let's build up the measuring chain. This is very easy. I will explain it at the, let's explain it on the VIBROTEST 80 on the small instrument. You have 4 connector sockets, channel 1, channel 2, channel R, and trigger channel. There is a distinct rule how you have to connect the sensors. There's only one way if you go from 1 channel measurement up to 4 channel measurement. And this way I would like to explain for you. One thing I can already tell now, the trigger channel will not be used because, as the name is stating it, this one is for the reference signal if you measure speed. So let's connect one sensor. We put it together again. Take the magnet for flat surfaces. And for example, decide to measure at the drive end a one-channel measurement. So I put it into socket number 1. And a one-channel measurement is only possible if you put it in socket number 1. You cannot put simply this sensor to socket number 2. It will not work. This is the most basic measurement, obviously. Now, what if we would like to measure 2 channels? So let's take a second sensor and a flat cable, which is similar to the spiral one, but for the purpose over a longer distance you would prefer a flat cable. Let's screw it together and put it in vertical direction and obviously to socket channel 2. Now you can either measure horizontal and vertical direction at the drive end or horizontal and vertical direction at the non-drive end. Or you can measure horizontal vibration at motor A and horizontal direction at motor B. Okay, I told you at the beginning of the videos, the instruments are capable up to 4 channels. So what is the next step? Intuitively, we connect a third sensor. And there you need to know another 3-to-1 adapter, which is this one. And you have to connect it to channel 1, only to channel 1. And then connect the 3 sensors. Each is marked for convenient use with 1X, 2Y, and 3Z. So let's connect this. We take out these 2 sensors and put it to socket channel number 1. Then we connect the 2 sensors. I now don't have a third sensor, but I'm quite sure you are able to imagine that we put here the third sensor. And what can you measure? You can measure horizontal, vertical, and axial position at the drive end, or horizontal, vertical position, axial position at the non-drive end. Also here you have more possibilities. Last but not least, if you would like to connect a fourth sensor, there is a cable called AC1386. And as I am prepared, I have it of course for you here. And this one is connected to channel R. Don't be confused about the R. The R stands for reference channel. There are several reasons why this has been chosen. However, it is very safe. You can make no mistake because this socket is only one time available. And you can connect a fourth sensor. And you can measure with 4 channels simultaneously in parallel now. Horizontal, vertical at drive end, horizontal, vertical, non-drive end, horizontal, vertical at motor A, horizontal, vertical at motor B. So there are many, many combinations and you can save a lot of time and you can make in-depth fault detection and diagnosis. As I mentioned and shown in the last minutes, the interface and sockets are exactly the same. So if you purchase any cable for the VIBROTEST 80, it fits also for the VIBROPORT 80 and vice versa. The instruments are designed for left-right-hand operation. So you see the thumb is directly on the so-called fire key, which is similar to a return key on a PC. So if you push this fire key, you can acknowledge or you can start measurements. There are many, many functions for this fire key. Please note that for the large instrument there is a third fire key. And this fire key has a high advantage because it is in between the navigation cross where you navigate on the icons which you see on the VibroPort 80. But why is this fire key so important? Assume you work 8 hours, really 8 hours daily with this instrument, and you navigate and can click immediately and acknowledge with this fire key, which is missing at the VibroTest 80 simply because the instrument is smaller. You can save over years and decades a lot of time by this little fire key, which is given in addition at the VibroPort 80. Ergonomic hand grips, I talked about it, especially at the VibroPort 80. What we did not mention up to now is the keyboard. On the top you see 6 function keys, which you see on the VibroTest 80 only 4, simply for place reasons. But are they missing on the VibroTest 80? No, they are not missing. Via the 0 shift button you can show the remaining 2 function keys which are directly available on the VibroPort 80. These function keys are for quick access, where you can move very quickly when you operate the instrument by using these buttons. Below the function key you have an alphanumeric keypad where you can enter names when you have stored data. And of course you use also this alphanumeric keypad for shortcuts. For example, if you would like to view in a FFT harmonic cursor, it's simply pushing 4 and the instrument knows to show the harmonic cursor. And we have of course an on-off button. So I'm already at the end of this presentation demonstration. On this slide you see we deliver VibroTest 80 or VibroPort 80 in packages with a scope of delivery like software, accessories, and in a very nice carrying case. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed the video.